So one thing about me, when I go to restaurants, like in a city or something, and you go to like, the restaurant spots, you've got like a street and they're lined up with all of these beautiful, fanciful places. If you have never been dining out in Melbourne, I highly recommend it. We have an amazing culinary scene, especially if you go on Lygon Street in the city, or if you go near the Crown Casino and Crown Hotels and everything over there in the South Wharf, you are going to find yourself pretty much anywhere near Melbourne, I would say, especially near the CBD, that's the Central Business District, you're going to find yourself among some of the best culinary spots in the world. And there are so many enclaves and little known spots, and Melbourne is just a treasure trove for the food, cuisine, and everything else. You're going to find yourself world-class talent over here. So as I'm walking by these fanciful streets and these beautiful places, establishments, one thing about me is that I never like I never take a look at the menu outside the venue. So in order to attract you, but I guess in a way to be, to inform you what's on the menu. A lot of these places will have like a really beautiful pedestal, where the menu is nicely laid out for you, usually oversized so you can read it easier from a standing position. It's really good customer service move. And the idea is that you can take a look at the menu and decide, are you going to, basically patronize the place? And that's a great thing. I'm never one for that though. For me, I don't mind taking a chance anymore. Like I don't mind taking a chance. I will go and I will look at the restaurant and I will feel a vibe. Maybe I will see a person standing outside the door. Maybe they have a friendly face. Maybe they look welcoming. Perhaps it's the decor. Maybe it's the smell emanating, or maybe the sounds or the music, the ambience. Whatever it is about that particular thing where I feel a connection, and I'll just walk in. Quite often I won't even know the name of the restaurant I'm walking into until I sit down and then they hand me the menu and I can see the name of the restaurant. I'm going by the vibe, I'm just going by the feels of it. I don't like stressing about, what it is that I'll experience. If I go in and I sit down and I have a glass of water and as I contemplate the menu, if for some reason there is something that's just giving me a bad vibe, like I made a mistake, I just get out and go. They are usually not going to mind too much for just a glass of water as long as you make that decision quickly. But that hardly ever happens. I would say 99% of the time, I am at least perfectly okay with the choice that I make. And nearly 80% of the time, I'm astounded by the thing I was able to discover because, like I said, the culinary scene is just such a safe bet in Australia anyway that I don't have to stress. This is a night to enjoy, a moment to just have and give yourself a little luxury. I don't think it should be stressful. I don't think it needs to be technical. I see it as a luxury. I see it as an art form. I think food is art. I think running a restaurant is art. I think that giving someone a amazing experience within a half hour to maybe an hour, that itself is a performance. It's theater. It's amazing. It's something that I wish I did more often. What I'm trying to say there is that I don't mind going in blind. I don't mind paying for the privilege of taking a chance on a piece of art that somebody put together. I wonder if I'm part of a dying breed. The the conversation happens, and it's still happening around marathon, right? And I suppose Concord as well, and Helldivers. Live service games from I guess Sony as a corporation that have, you know, I guess pridefully asked for an upfront charge. And marathon just happened, right? I I do not think that the reveal, the live event that they did, I don't think that was particularly good. In fact, I think it was actually rather terrible. I think it was a terrible reveal. I think that they hurt the format hurt it more than it was. I think what they actually showed wasn't even that bad. It wasn't great. Let's say it was like a 7 out of 10. But then the live service format, them sitting on couches and congratulating themselves and everything, it's just like, bro, You took that 7 and you made it a 3 out of 10. So I think it was a rather poor showing. That's what I'm trying to say. However, one point that has come up after that, instead of people like me obsessing about the artistry of it, because I care about those kind of a thing, um, people are talking instead about the fact that this will have a box price. People are saying it should be free to play. Like, oh, you're hurting your chances and everything like that. They probably have a point. Fair enough. But my thing is, there was a post made on the Twitters, and the person said that, I think it was Warrior 64. They said that, oh, this game will be charged a full $70 upfront. And then the company came out and they said, like, yes, it will have a price, but it will not be a full price title. And they said more details to come later. And people kind of breathed a sigh of relief. But then people started saying, like, why isn't it free to play? Here's my thing. I would have been more relieved if it was $70. Since what happened? What happened to us? What happened to us as gamers, as a gaming body, I guess the clientele of gamers, that we are not adverse to taking chances. I say this because during the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 generation, most of you were not only alive, but you were already gamers, you were already enthusiastic about gamers. That's why I take that particular generation as my starting point. Because in the PlayStation 2 generation, you were gamers, most of you, but you were likely gaming off of the fruits of, other people. What I mean is, your older brother passed you something down, your older sister, your mom or your dad bought something for you. It wasn't your own money yet, so it's a bit different. Now, during the PlayStation 3 generation, for most of us, that's when we started earning our little bits of money. And we used to take chances on games with our own money. And $60 in 2006 translates to $95 today. And you would take this chance off the back of the box, off of maybe one or two IGN articles. There were not the myriad of podcasts and gaming media and people posting, people like myself, people much bigger than me on the socials, uh YouTube reviews, which are basically people like us that are just doing this consistently on their own, and then they turn it professionally. But the thing is, there's no big corporation over them mandating that they be able to give you this kind of opinion versus that one. So there's a lot more transparency with somebody that is just doing it as a YouTube reviewer. You had none of these resources to make your choice, and yet we didn't mind making those choices. I paid $60 or whatever the equivalent was in Australia for Heavenly Blade. Heavenly Blade was a good game, but if I went back in time and I looked at it critically, especially in the eyes of a 2025 gamer, that wasn't worth $60. Remember Prototype? There were so many games, like people just took chances on. And a lot of these companies would not be here today if we hadn't taken a chance on them. Like the first Mass Effect, people had to take a chance on that, you know? Now, of course, BioWare was already kind of known in the industry. But what I'm saying is that Mass Effect was the moment, especially Mass Effect 2, when they hit that mainstream success. And for you to hit mainstream success, it means that over 80% of the people that bought that game had never played one of your games before. They were not familiar. Yes, you may have had the pedigree, but they didn't know. They took a chance on you. We used to take chances on games. We used to spend $60 here and there, $40 here, there, and everywhere, $20 here, there, and everywhere, off of just vibes. Like me going to that restaurant, just walking in, like you just look at the cover and you'd be like, I'm gonna take a chance on that. Listen, Marathon for me has been a disappointing reveal, but it would have been made better by them charging me full price. Because, man, we used to make that trade. I give you the full $70 or the full $60, and you give me your full game. I take a chance on you, and you take a chance on me. That used to be our agreement with these companies. We taking chances on each other. Nowadays, the gaming body, and by the gaming body, I'm talking about, the consumers, the clientele of gaming, people like you and I, not the developers themselves, but we've become toxic and hypocritical in a way, because we are telling these companies, hey, you take a chance on making this $200 million or $300 million or $100 million or even $50 million budget game. You pay all of the upfront costs, you take all of the risks, take the chances, but also be innovative, by the way, which means take more risk, you know also respond to the technological needs or capabilities that are current. So again, take more time, polish it more. We ask now that they reduce the amount of brokenness on day one, which of course is a great thing. But again, do more polish, do all of that, right? But then we in return are reluctant to take a chance on your product, right? Some things break through. Helldivers broke through, but there's so many great games that are honestly games that back in 2006 you would have called them like hidden gems, and yet they get a a tepid reception, a almost groan and disdain when they mention that, oh, there's going to be a box price, or what we saw recently since 2017, is it on Game Pass? What we're trying to communicate there is that we don't want to take a risk on this anymore. Listen, we all know the story with Concord. We don't have to go and rehash it. But I took a chance on it. I went there and I paid my equivalent $40 for it. I paid for it. I didn't mind taking a chance on the game. Like where do we, and the thing is, it's not just a message that we are communicating to these companies, which is of course problematic enough. It's a message that we are literally lambasting each other for, like over like a person will laugh at you for taking a chance on a game. A person will laugh at you for asking for a game to be full price. It's incredible. $70 games have advantages. They have advantages. You may not agree that every single game should be worth $70 or $60 or whatever it is, but for me, yeah, the price point could be debated, but I want to go back to the paradigm of I pay whatever you estimate should be the full price, and you give me a full package. If afterwards you want to do additional content, then perhaps we can negotiate on DLC. Maybe it is a la carte, maybe it's an expansion, size kind of a thing. But we took chances. And I wonder, am I the last of a dying breed? I don't do channel reviews on this channel, like video game reviews. I'm not interested in that. I think there are plenty of video game reviewers. I appreciate those who would like my particular opinion on a particular title, or whatever it is that I'm enjoying. At the moment, I'm loving Slay the Spire. I think it's many, many years old, but man, I took this game way further. I've got 220 hours or something in Slay the Spire, and honestly, I'm not really close to stopping yet. I've got four more trophies to go. Unfortunately, the three trophies that I'm looking at right now, I've done some of the harder ones already. I even did the speed run trophy, and I hate doing speed run shit. But I did it. That's how much I love this game. This is actually the first speed run trophy I've ever done, because I honestly do not like speed running. But I just love the game that much. So I appreciate that people will sometimes like my me to dedicate a review, but I'm not interested in that. My interest in this channel is the conversation around gaming. I like conversations. I hope this is a conversation with you. I hope that when I create a video, and I like long format, because I don't want short conversations, man. I've never been that way. I enjoy books. I enjoy long form content. I enjoy people taking the time to sit down with each other and share the ideas. And that's what an author does when they sit down and they write a book. I like reading newspaper articles. I read them from beginning to end. I like things that ask me like, hey, sit with me. Let's have a conversation. I hope that on my channel, I'm going to attract an audience that values a conversation. If this is your first video here, know that if you go back in my catalog, you're going to see that most videos are longer than an hour. I'm asking you to please take the time out of your day and listen to what I have to say. And while you don't always have to give me all of that time or agree, just know that I'm here for the conversation aspect. I don't want to create a video under 10 minutes. Don't. It's not it's not the way that I interact. So maybe that is also part of a dying breed. Because we are now fed a culture where people are chronically online and yet the attention span is shorter than a dog whistle. People want content, don't give them conversation. Don't give them um even a greeting. Just give them bites. Give them 90 seconds or less. Hopefully 30 seconds or less. Make them laugh. Make them feel something for a fleeting moment so that they can just scroll up infinitely again until they get the next dose of dopamine. It's infuriating. It's frustrating. It's saddening. And it is affecting us as a society. You know, people don't want to tackle complex ideas anymore. You can't talk about you can't talk about the interaction of other things with games, you know? There used to be a time where as a gentleman or a gentle lady, you were seen as somewhat it was seen as somewhat unbecoming for you to only have one hobby. People want you to be cultured. Remember that? To be cultured, to be educated, to be a person that is kind of aware of many different facets of life, but not just, hopefully, not just on a surface level, but, in a way that spoke of some kind of synergy, in a way that spoke of some kind of deeper understanding because you were a painter, you were a pianist, you were a man of affairs, a woman of affairs, you were a homekeeper, you were a parent, you were an educator, you were a professional. You had all of these different hats and all these different spheres that you put step your foot into, and that's what made you cultured. That's what made you somebody who is altogether interesting. Nowadays, I see people on the Twitters, I see it, and I get that vibe. That the same thing that can educate me about restaurants and games that I might want to take a chance on. It's the same thing that gives me this vibe. Like this person, this is all they do. A lot of them are not even gamers that way. They are just, chronically online Twitter trolls. And it's like, am I a dying breed? Are we a dying breed? Because we appreciate people who are interesting, people who are architects, people who are politically involved. Not that they're necessarily activists or anything like that, but that they understand that there is an intersection between our culture and our life experience. Because at the end of the day, that's what politics are. Politics are, in basic fact, a conversation that we have as a society about what life should be like. That's all politics is. It's not meant to be something to be avoided. I saw a post today by Podowak, and he was showing the examples of like the three past presidents of the United States and the Easter messaging. I think it was this year, and there's contrast to be found there. And a person said, "Oh, stay out of politics, bro. Politics isn't staying out of you. You do realize that." The conversation that people are having, if you're not on the table, sharing your thoughts and your voice, their words are still affecting you. It's not a room that you can just get your clothes off. But nowadays, what I see is that ignorance is valued. Ignorance isn't just bliss. It's the epitome of what these people want to have. They want us to stay ignorant. They want us to be ignorant. They want us to speak ignorant. And it's not just about politics, it's about everything. I made a post on the Twitters talking about the PlayStation Portal, right? I like my PlayStation Portal. I have done a review on the PlayStation Portal. I understand the limitations of the PlayStation Portal, and I have said it over and over again. The PlayStation Portal does not make sense for 95% of the gaming audience. It doesn't. The limitation of being a streaming only device, the fact that it doesn't have its own cellular connection, the fact that it always has to rely on two or three other things going well. At least it has to rely on you having a PlayStation 5. Then it has to rely on you having a solid internet connection. It has to rely on those, those two factors being true and being great at the same time. That's a huge limitation. That takes out 95% of the gaming audience. And when I say that, I'm not talking about gaming enthusiasts, I'm saying the gaming audience as a whole. I say this. But ironically, the people that would that my post would reach on Twitter are more likely to not be the typical gaming audience. Listen, if you're on Twitter, if you are on YouTube, if you're watching me right now, understand that you are part of an exclusive group, you know? And by exclusive, I don't mean like, oh, you are higher or better than anybody else. But what I mean is that you're part of a small niche dedicated group. You're like an owners group for any particular brand or item, like an owners group for, I don't know, a car brand or something, you know? And what you'll see there is that while the PlayStation Portal can only make sense for about 5% of the entire gaming population, because I know friends that are casual that have the portal and they love it, for you people on Twitter, it's probably 25 to 33% of you. Up to a good third of you, the portal would make sense for. So I make the post about the portal and I'm enjoying it, and people are in the comments and they are mocking, they're condescending, they're denigrating. Sometimes not just the device itself, but me also for liking it. Isn't that crazy? Um, I wonder if I'm part of a dying breed because I think there used to be a time when we would appreciate single-use devices. Devices that could only do one thing, but do that one thing really, really, really well. That used to be a thing that I feel was appreciated, something that I feel people understood and, in fact, cherished. I have a Kindle, right? This is a Kindle. Okay, so this, in case you don't know what a Kindle is, it's an ebook reader. What that means is that this is like a mini tablet that only opens books. That's all it does. It does literally nothing else. It's literally, listen, books. That's it. That's all you got, right? So over here, I'm going to open up a book, and all it does is open books and allows you to read them. This thing literally does nothing else. I mean, it tells the time, I suppose. That's advantageous, and it also sets the time from the internet, which means that when you have daylight savings, unlike my microwave, isn't it funny that all of these devices nowadays are internet connected? All of them have apps, but then I still have to set the time on the oven and the microwave. Like, what the hell is that? Like, if you're going to connect my device to the internet and spy on me through my microwave, could you at least have the decency to change daylight saving times on your own? You know? So, yeah, this here is the book. As you can see, it's just that's it. This is literally everything the device does. Allows you to flick pages, allows you to read books. It does nothing else. There is no redeeming thing. It doesn't play video. It's horrible at looking at images. It's only black and white. It has the backlight, which I suppose is nice. But that's because I went for the quote unquote expensive model. Uh, and that's it. It does literally nothing else. That's my Kindle. Now, much like the PlayStation Portal, people will point out that every single thing that I do on my Kindle, my dedicated book reading tablet, I can do on my phone, right? I have the Kindle app on my phone. It has the same book, it's the same library, the same account. Matter of fact, if I open up a book on my Kindle, on my phone, or vice versa, it will automatically update to the exact same page that I was on the other device. Same page, it will synchronize between the two devices. So a person that says to me that, hey, Everything that the portal does, I can do on my phone. Of course, you can do remote play on your phone. We have had, in case you're new here, PlayStation has had a remote play capability since the PlayStation 3 in 2006. It came out and it had remote play. No lie, no lie. With the PlayStation Portal, well, no, not Portal, Portable. With the PSP, the OG PSP could remote play with the PlayStation 3. 100% of the time. The whole time we've had remote play. During the PlayStation 4, it got upgraded to be able to support phones and tablets and PCs. Now, listen, I'm not sure exactly when all of those things, but by the time that we were like 2 years into PlayStation 4 generation, you could remote play off of anything. You could remote play out off of the iPhone watch. I'm sure you could if you could find a way to get it there. But the point is, we've been had it and I've done every part of it. Just like I've read books in every format. I read books, right? I read books physically. I love reading books physically. I love physical books. Still my most preferred way to read. I have books that I have on in physical form and I have in digital form. So I have them on my Kindle, I have them on my tablet, I have them on my phone, I have them on my laptop, I have them on my computer. I have them physically. And I can tell you that as far as the digital side is concerned, having a dedicated tablet that is just for reading books is 1,000 times better. If you guys enjoy reading books on your phone, trust me, it is still worth investing. Yes, I understand it's the same. You will be buying a device that duplicates the functionality that another device you already own has. But this new device, that Kindle or that other ebook reader, because it's like Kobos and other ones, please go ahead, look at reviews, find the best tablet for you. But that device is going to give you a reading experience from a digital book that is so much better than what your phone or your tablet could do, like your ordinary tablet could do, that it is beyond night and day. It is beyond night and day. It is in fact far closer to again physical books. And physical books are again way better than reading even off a Kindle. This year, these physical books, right? Way better. This is the way to go. If you have the time, if you have the space to store them, because this is one of the downsides, right? Like, for example, I have a Kindle partly because it is the most analogous, like, this is the next closest thing, right? Next, there's a huge difference between the two, but it's the next best thing. But the thing is, this is a lot more portable. I have over 400 Kindle books, I think I'm pushing 400 now. And I remember once going on holiday and I brought with me, I think it was like 20 books or like a dozen books or 2 dozen books. And that shit took up a whole luggage, a whole suitcase. It weighed like 10 kilos by the time I was saying and done. These were big books. And that's when I realized that's not sustainable, Or sometimes, I want to go from place to place. And again, I want to bring my library of books with me because I'm not sure what I may feel like reading. Tablet, Kindle. Yes, all duplicated on the phone. But there used to be a time when we would understand that instinctively. You know, people still value the allure, whether they're a musician or not, they value the allure of a grand piano or a baby grand piano. The piano only plays music and it only does it in a way that a piano can. That's it. It's an instrument that can only do that. People still value it. We still cherish it. It takes up so much room, so much space, especially if you're talking about baby grand pianos or bigger. And yet we value the object because that's what we should do. There's beauty in the world in having something that can only deliver one thing. There's beauty there, there's artistry to be found there, there's humanity to be found there. But nowadays, you can't talk about the nuance or the advantages of, something like a portal, which to me, like I said, is completely analogous to my Kindle tablet. It is the best way. the portal is of experiencing PlayStation Remote Play. Your Steam Deck can do it. Your phone can do it. Your tablet can do it. Your laptop can do it. Your PC can do it. Your you could hack your fridge to do it. Almost anything with a screen and an internet connection can do it. But the best at it is the PlayStation Portal. And then people tell me like, oh, turn the Wi-Fi off. Oh, turn the internet off. Oh, turn this off. Haha, you can't use it. Well, I can't do it with anything else that relies on PlayStation Remote Play. Unless your entire spiel is about disliking remote play as a complete functionality and just dismissing it outright, then all of the other limitations when you say turn off the internet or something, that applies to the phone as well. If I turn off my internet, I cannot use remote play on my phone. And then people say, well, my phone can still uh play games that are installed natively on it, and it doesn't have to rely on internet connection. Absolutely, you're 100% right. But then I'm not using remote play. The game that I was talking about earlier, Slay the Spire, you remember, we just talked about it. The game I was talking about earlier, I have it as a separate Android purchase. I have it, same game, plays on my tablet and my phone exactly the same way that it plays on my place on my PS5. I bought it again. The reason I bought it again is because I enjoy the game that much. And there are times when I either don't have my portal or the connection might not be good enough for me to pull out the portal. But I'm a PlayStation gamer. I enjoy most playing on PlayStation. I like having the trophies and the hours tracked on the ecosystem that I prefer. So yes, when I go to other people's places. Sometimes I only have my tablet with me. In transit, for example, when I was in the train, I put out my tablet and I just played a different session of the game on the Android tablet. Unfortunately, there is no cross save or cross pollination between the two ecosystems, so they are separate instances. And listen, I'd rather unlock trophies on my PlayStation account. I enjoy the portal. But the portal also gives me remote play, which of course gives me access to everything else that I have. The portal is good. It is a device that is created for a single task and it is the best at that task. If that task is not interesting to you, then the device itself isn't interesting to you. If you are not a reader, do not buy a Kindle. It can only do that. It doesn't even take notes. I mean, there is a Kindle tablet that does take notes. That one is it's a bigger tablet, it's a bigger size, it reads books, it takes notes and everything like that. But honestly, I don't know why you would want to use that because those notes are locked pretty much to the Kindle ecosystem, and you will not have a lot of devices that would cross-pollinate with that system. Instead, if you want to take notes on the go and you want to do it digitally, I highly recommend a Samsung Galaxy Ultra series, so that they have the pen. I have one. I'm a big fan of note taking, but having the S Pen is the way to go if you want to take notes on the go. And that can interact with more devices and more, I guess, points of contact. There used to be a time when we would value a device that can only do one thing and do one thing really well. I want to show you an interaction that I had, right? Because I made this post. And don't worry, this time I'm only going to show you one interaction. Just to illustrate the point. Because I feel like I'm part of a dying breed for liking factual information. But not just factual information like you're supposed to know it immediately. Factual information that you go out and you seek. Because there used to be a time when seeking information, seeking truth, seeking fact was valued. And honestly, it's easy now. In your pocket, you have access to probably 85% of the entirety of human knowledge through your smartphone. 85%. There's government secrets, there's state secrets, there's patents, there's things that you just have to be an expert to know. You know what? Maybe 65%. Because there's a lot of human knowledge that people have stored in their minds and they haven't yet written a book, they haven't yet put out an app or an education plan. But man, your phone has almost the entirety of human knowledge, at least general human knowledge, right there in your pocket. And there used to be a time when pulling out your phone or pulling out your laptop or whatever and Googling and researching that what you're saying is true, especially in a debate with someone, was valued. Nowadays, it isn't. So, like I said, just one interaction, just to make this point. Don't worry, it's going to be really, really not short because we're going to have a conversation about it. We're about to be here for still a while longer. Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look. I said this, yeah, for all my PlayStation Portal haters, okay, and this is off of a post that somebody else made. I think it was Nick, is it Nicholas? Yeah, I think it's Nick. And he made a post, and then people hated on him, and they were he made a post in his car, and you could see the steering wheel, and people were like, "Oh, you're sat in your driveway. That's why it's working. You couldn't do this when you're away from home." So I made this post over here, clearly showing me in a library. This is the State Library over here in Melbourne. If you haven't visited and you are a Melbourneian, go ahead and visit. It's great. The State Library is amazing. So here I am, using the portal and everything like that. Some people even got at me for the game because I'm playing Slay the Spire over here, and they're like, "Oh, you're only playing that because the lag is so bad." And listen, the connection in the library wasn't the greatest. I've got to tell you, it wasn't the highest best performance that I've had on the portal, even when I'm away from home. You know, but I wasn't playing this game because I thought, "Oh, let me cover up for the lag." I was playing this game because I'm literally trophy hunting. Go and check my profile. Go and check my PSN. Look at the timestamps, okay, and then look at the most recent trophies on that particular thing because I actually unlocked a trophy playing it through remote play on the portal. I was just enjoying the game. I'm not going to change which game I play just to prove to you that the PlayStation Portal could play whatever game I want. If Sony was paying me, absolutely. But since they're not paying me, and since you guys are not paying me to do the research for you, I'm just going to play the game I was playing anyway, and I'm going to share my experience. That's all it is. It's not an ad. I don't owe you a Q&A session. I don't owe you further research. Again, you want me to put in the time, somebody's got to be giving me the money to put you to give you all of that content. Now, if one day on my own I decide to do it because I want to again share a further experience, absolutely. But I have a lot of all of these haters, which by the way they're not even interested really in like being like, oh, can I play these games? What they're interested in is just the making fun of people for enjoying themselves. So anyways, I showed this video, I made this post, and pretty innocuous, pretty tongue-in-cheek, nothing bad. This person came over here, right? And over here, Sinji, over here, I'm just gonna call him Sin, okay? Came and he says, I've been doing this on my phone for years. What's new? First of all, what about my post over here made you say, like, made you think that, oh, you couldn't do this on your phone? No one ever, like, where did I say this can only be done on the portal? like, you think you're the only one? I've been using PlayStation Remote Play for the longest. Like, do you think that you're the only one who's been using it? But this is the best way. So when I say this is better, right? He says no, it isn't. He says now, listen, this is what his argument was. Okay, this is why we're gonna have this interaction. He says, no, it isn't. Can the portal connect to Wi Fi spots that require you to sign in to the company website? He says, nope. He answers his own question. In the same line, he didn't even take it to a new paragraph for dramatic effect. I said to him, yes, did it today. Literally, to sign into the state Wi-Fi over here, the state library's Wi-Fi, you have to quote unquote authenticate or sign in or whatever it is, right? It, exactly the situation he was talking about. You guys know the situation. I know the situation. And I literally did it. It's literally proved in the video that I did it, you know. And I said, yes, I did it today. Right? Very simple. The conversation ends there. But look what he says next. He says, how do you manage that with no internet browser? And then the funny thing is that he went all the way to using Google. But now I realize that in today's society, people can use Google wrong. like it's incredible. Instead of typing something like, can the PlayStation portal allow you to sign in to public Wi-Fi networks or whatever, even though it is what it is, or is that a limitation? Did they get around it? Instead of just typing that, he typed something that would validate his own bias. So instead, he must have typed something like, does the portal have an internet browser? And it doesn't have an internet browser. So normally it would not allow you to sign in. But the thing is, the people at PlayStation, they found a workaround. And yes, once again, the portal is relying on another device, your phone this time, in order to authenticate it. But again, look at the bias. This guy did not believe that this functionality was available. So instead of simply asking Google, hey, is this functionality available? He went and asked another question that would validate his erroneous position. Isn't that strange? So then clearly the screenshot there says that no, the PlayStation Portal does not have a dedicated internet browser, which of course is true. It does not have internet browser. It never will. Then I said, look it up. It uses your phone to authenticate. So over here, I literally told him what the solution was. Once again, I already did this. This thing, this thing that he's complaining about has been done. I've achieved it. I've done it myself. I've done it on that exact same day that he is asking me about. This was literally just a few hours for me after I had done it. So I'm already coming from a position of this is obviously possible because I did it. But he literally says to me, wrong, buddy. Tons of hotels and coffee shops, etc., require you to open the browser on the device and to sign up and select their Wi-Fi on their browser page. By the way, Sin, if you're watching this, this is not the right version of there. There, the possessive is not there. This term over here, which basically means the pointing to the locality of something or to the placement of something or to the position of something. Different word for that, but they're not the same. You're using the wrong version. Use the possessive if you mean to say their Wi-Fi. That's THEIR. Am I part of a dying breed? There used to be a time where we cared about syntax and lexicon and language and spelling. He continues, right? After saying that tons of hotels and everything required you to sign up, he continues and he says, can't do that with Portal. Okay? Then he says, know what else you can do with the Portal that the phone can do? Play Xbox Steam emulators. Let's first address that very last one because I didn't bother addressing this in my reply. I don't care to play Xbox Steam or emulators on my Portal. Just like, listen, I don't care to watch Netflix on my Kindle. It's not what it's for. It's not what I have it for. If you have a Kindle and you would like it to watch to stream Netflix, good on you, mate. Good on you. Go ahead and tell Amazon to build that thing for you. Maybe I'll be interested. But that's not what I have it for. I have my Kindle to literally just read books. That's all it can do. I have my Portal to just use PlayStation Remote Play. Honestly speaking, I would really appreciate if the Portal could at least stream movies on Netflix. That would be great. I would appreciate it if I could even stream the stream of a stream, as in the PlayStation 5 is streaming, and then it beams that over to my Portal. So I could kind of watch Netflix that way, kind of weird walk around. But listen, I didn't buy it for all of that. I bought it to do PlayStation Remote Play. PlayStation Remote Play. I don't care about Xbox. I don't play on Xbox. I don't give a fuck about Steam. I do not give Steam could literally disappear off the face of the planet today. It would not even change my temperature by 0.0000001 degrees Celsius. Like, would not give a fuck. I have things on Steam that I bought, wouldn't give a fuck. I spent like a few $100s on Steam, would not give a fuck. And emulators, you mean piracy? That's what you guys are talking about. The emulators, pirates. You should be ashamed of yourself. Oh, by the way, I know that not all emulation is piracy, but seeing, knowing the kind of person, the vibe that you give up, yeah, you're a pirate. Nah, nah, you're not emulating, you're pirating. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not from you. Everybody else, I give them the excuse. But you, yeah, I can tell. I just get that vibe. Okay. Then I say to him, I respond to him again. I say to him, you literally can. And I mean that literally. I mean, you literally can. Because I literally did it today. And that's what I say to him. Literally twice. And I'm using literally the proper way. Then I ask him, why do you insist on being wrong? Then he says, because you are wrong. Paulo doesn't have a dedicated browser. I never said that he had a dedicated browser. I literally told you that he uses the phone to authenticate itself. So if I had said to you, look it up, it has a browser now, then obviously I would be lying, I would be incorrect, and you would have caught me in a moment that would be quite embarrassing as a person that owns the device and claimed to have performed that task on the day. But I literally told you how he did it. I said, look it up, he uses your phone. So then he comes back with, again, he does have a browser. And the thing is, the whole time, he must be calling me a liar because I keep insisting that I've done it on the day that you're talking about, a mere few hours ago. I don't know exactly when this conversation started, but I might still have been at the library at the time, literally doing the thing that he was saying that I could not do. So then he creates another screenshot, again going to Google, and now he must be going to ChatGPT. I think it's ChatGPT. This is the I don't use ChatGPT that often. I know that maybe that makes me part of the dying way too, but I do not like these fucking AI apps. I don't like them. I don't fucking like them. I don't like them because they take the cognitive load from people. They take the cognitive effort from people, and then they spit them answers. And then these idiots on the internet, like him, use that AI answer, even though he gave the AI the wrong prompt. So really, that's not even blaming the AI. But the point is, we live in a society now where people don't even want to Google themselves. Literally, this is where we are now. Now we are using a machine to tell you what you think and what you believe because you could not be fucked. Just look at a few sources yourself. Just look at the top 3 results on Google. I'm sure one of them would have been like, hey, Sony added functionality to this thing in order to achieve it in this way. It is a workaround and it does not natively connect on its own. If your phone is turned off, right, and you need to authenticate yourself in using the portal, yeah, you're fucked. But I wasn't saying that. I was saying that, hey, it uses your phone, so it is capable of doing it, which is true. But now we live in a part where literally people are offloading the cognitive load so much that they don't even want to Google anymore. Even when a person, another human being, another human is telling you this is possible, you go and you put in the wrong prompt in some kind of AI generated nonsense garbage thing, and then you believe the machine over the person. This is where we are. People are going to, in the future election, in especially like the big elections. Now we have one coming up in Australia this year in just a few weeks. But people are going to, not this cycle, but in the next electoral cycle, people are going to use the chat GPTs, the Guocs, the fucking co-pilots and whatever to literally inform the political beliefs. This is what we are. We're going to be ran by machines because we run to machines. Do not ask what AI can do for you. Ask what AI is doing to you. When you are offloading your cognitive, mental load and stress, your brain is a muscle, it needs to be exercised. When you're offloading that to a machine and just letting the machine tell you what you think, even when another human being is there telling you otherwise, you choose to believe a fucking word calculator. I'm one of a dime. Sorry about that. I spilled. Sorry. I hate this timeline. I must be a last of a dying breed. I don't like using Google's AI thing, the quick responder. I mean, that's not too bad. Um, but I don't like what is it? I don't like Gen AI. I don't like it for art. I don't like AI art. Get it the fuck out of my face. I don't like it. I value artists. I don't mind digital art made by humans. If you make an AI image, please don't send it my way. I don't like it. I don't like any of them. I don't like the Studio Ghibli, like what is it? Fake AI things. I don't like rooms that I made in AI. I don't like AI architecture. I don't like AI generated content. These are machines. I don't sympathize with robots. Remember in iRobot, how, Will Smith was talking to this robot and he was like, "You're a machine, you're a imitation of life." Yeah, I stand on that business. I don't like robots. I was watching what was that show on Netflix? It was people were like talking all about it. What is it? Blah 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 blah. Netflix robot show, whatever. Pluto. People were talking about Pluto and they were like, "Oh my god, all of these." And then, they were like, "Oh, this thing and everything." And then I find out that it's a bunch of like androids that somehow have gained sentience or whatever, and are being killed, and then they want me to care. I don't give a fuck. The fuck would I care for? You think I care about a machine being destroyed? It's a machine. It's a fucking toaster that works. You think that I care? That I'm going to empathize? Oh, it's being murdered? I don't give a fuck, bro. It's property. Now, listen, if the owner of that property is like, "Oh, you're destroying my property and I'm going to sue you legally," go ahead and do that. But I'm not going to give a fuck. Listen, you come up with an army of sentient robots that have feelings and everything. I will destroy them 100 times. I don't give a fuck, bro. You're not human. You're not even an animal. No, I don't care. I don't like AI because it does this to people. It literally validates idiocy. Because you know what the AI will not do for you, Mr. Sin Digital Photography? You know what the AI will not do for you? It will not try to educate you. This is why I call it a word calculator. There's no intelligence in artificial intelligence. Artificial is artificial. The way that I understand artificial intelligence is that I take artificial to mean fake. It would be a lot better if people understood AI as FI, fake intelligence. That would tell you what the product actually is. Because if it was actually intelligent, it will go the step further and inform you that, hey, by the way, if you did want to use it for this particular thing, though, oh yeah, no, you can. There's a workaround. That will be intelligence. That's what a human can do for you. A human can tell you, hey, there is no browser on the PlayStation Portal, but then at the same time, there is a workaround to sign in into public Wi-Fi networks. That's what intelligence is. That's what intelligence is. Intelligence is not just the regurgitation of facts or statements or things. Intelligence is insight. Intelligence is fundamentally human, or at least is fundamentally organic, because there's lots of creatures besides humans that are intelligent, including plants, including animals, including reptiles, including birds. All of us have real intelligence. AI is fake and it's making you dumber because it literally relieves you of having to exercise your intelligence. So, final note over here. I sent him this image and I said, "Here is some help because clearly you're useless." And I sent him the first link that I found on Google. That was not just the AI generated content crap. The first link by an article made by a human being telling you that Sony's PlayStation Portal update adds public Wi Fi support. This was the first link on Google. All I had to do was something type. I had to do a Google search. All I had to type was, can the portal sign into public Wi Fi networks? Which was the crux of the argument. Isn't that incredible? People are now in the point where, in a debate, the person that brings up the debate question forgets about the debate question. Your debate question was never, does the PlayStation Portal have a browser? It doesn't. Your question was, can it sign in to public networks or to other networks that require you to sign in, including private networks? So, for example, if you go to a university or if you go to a workplace and they have their network, but it requires authentication, the portal can also sign in there. because again, you will just use your phone to act as I guess as a translator layer between the two systems, and then the portal will sign on. In case you guys are wondering how that process happens, when you when you go to your portal and you try to sign into a network that requires authentication, not just a password. If it requires the password, you can just type in the password. But if it requires authentication, like a sign-in portal that is, a separate layer on top of that, the portal will generate a QR code. You will then use your phone camera to scan the QR code just like anything, and it will create a temporary Wi-Fi connection with your portal, and I guess on the back end with the system that you're trying to sign into, the network that you're trying to sign into. So now your phone is a bridge, and then the sign-in portal that you will normally get when you're trying to just use your phone or your computer will open up on your phone, and you type in your credentials, whatever those credentials are. If it's of a public network, it might just be you clicking validate, I agree to the terms and conditions. They tell you they'll only give you access for 30 minutes or something, whatever the case is, right? If it is a private network like a university or a business, it will require you to put in your username or your ID and then a subsequent password, usually after that, or a keyword for you to sign in. And you will just do the exact same process that you normally do on your phone, exactly the same, and you'll authenticate yourself on your phone. Then your phone is going to take that information somehow, transfer it to your portal, and your portal is going to sign in and automatically being connected. Boom, there is done. The only failure point here is that if your phone is turned off or for some moment you do not have access to it, like somebody borrowed it, while your portal is just going to sit there pretty with a QR code on its screen, waiting for you to complete the process. So yeah, if your phone isn't with you or if it's not available, yeah, no, nothing. Also, obviously, if you don't have the credentials to sign in, well, you also get no luck there. But yeah, that's what I want to talk about. We're part of a dying breed. The funny thing is that after that is oh, I guess I should finish the thread, because believe it or not, this wasn't the end. Can you imagine, after taking this massive L, this person then goes, oh, so they updated it. So again, how is a portal better than a phone then? So you completely gloss over the fact that you were just completely wrong the entire time. You do not admit that, oh shit, my bad. No. Now you want to go back to the whole how is a portal better than a phone? I was like, yo, when I said it was better than a phone, okay, I don't mean that it is better than a phone at everything that a phone can do. That's idiotic. When I said this is better, you were coming off of saying that I've been doing this for years on my phone. What's new? And I said this is better, as in referring to remote play, because that's the topic of conversation. It's better than your phone at remote play. If you want to understand why, I'm going to, no, I'm not even going to go to my channel. You're already here on this YouTube, apparently. Go to my channel, all right, and then find the one about the PlayStation Portal. Just type in PlayStation Portal, if for Extreme or whatever you need to do, and then find it. Find my review of it. I'm going to talk to you about why the Portal is better at remote play than pretty much any other device or any other system, including, yes, the Razer Kishi or the backbone adapters and everything else that the phone strap-ons that you put on either side, so you have joysticks and everything. Those are a step above using the touchscreen. In fact, they're night and day difference, using versus using a touchscreen. They're much better than that, but they're still not as good as a Portal for many, many reasons. So go ahead and find that, and you can find your full answer. But either way, all of that is to say, a part of a dying breed. We can't even Google right anymore because we don't want to Google. Because Google still requires us to put in some kind of mental effort into reading the results. No, what we want is to go to a lame ass, unintelligent, stupid word calculator in the chat GPT or its ilk, and then be like, yeah, give me answer, machine. I don't want to Google search. I want an AI prompt. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. We've had calculators, we've had number calculators for the longest. I think that some of the earliest calculating devices were like the abacus or something. And still throughout the entire time, we kept passing down knowledge. Here's Pythagoras theorem. Here's algebra. Here's differentiation. Here's the antiderivative. Here are Laplace transforms. We keep passing on this mathematical knowledge because we understood as a society that just because a computer can do it does not mean that the fundamental rules of mathematics should be left to be the terrain or the purview of the machine. So we taught it to you at school, your multiplication table, your fractions, your decimals, your percentages, your conversions. We taught you how to argue and debate in debate class or in English. We taught you literature reviews. We taught you how to write an essay. We taught you how to argue with people on the internet. We taught you all of that because you should be equipped as a human being with more than just what a machine can provide you. We've had Google searches for the longest time, and we still taught you at university to go and look for credible sources, journal articles, peer reviewed science articles and journals and scientific journals and publishings. We taught all of that as a society for good reason, so that you wouldn't get up in an Yes, that's why we taught you that. We taught you fractions and algebra so that you would not make the stupid mistake that Sin just made. So you wouldn't lose internet debates as dumb as that one. That's what school was for. Yes, congratulations. You unlocked it. You learned the quadratic formula so that you will have the mental capacity to sit with a topic long enough to understand it, to learn the mechanics of it, but to really search the truth within it. Because at the end of the day, that's what school is about. At the end of the day, that's what education is. Science itself means study. That's literally all it does. Science isn't scientific because scientific science is literally just a word. I don't know if it comes like from Greek. I'm not sure about the etymology of the word, but it literally just means study, either Latin or Greek based or something like that. But I think like Greek is Latin based anyway. But the point is, originally the word science didn't mean chemistry or physics or any particular type of a thing. It just meant study. That's why we taught you science because we wanted you to be human, because we want you to validate real intelligence, real organic intelligence. We wanted you to value truth and facts. I could keep going, but we've crossed our hour mark, so I'm validated. There's something good about that. Something good about sitting for an hour and mulling over a particular topic and sharing it with you guys. So we'll leave it there. But what about you guys? Are we a part of a dying breed? I have hope. Yeah, I'm not pessimistic about the future. When it comes to like the next generation, people are telling me nowadays that, oh, Gen Z is all on TikTok and everything, and Gen Alpha is even worse and everything like that. Listen, there used to be a time in my life when I was 10 years old. I hated reading, hated it. Oh my goodness, for all of the same reasons that everybody else says that they hate reading. Oh, it's boring. Oh, it's trash. Why would I would just be watching a movie? It's so much easier and everything like that. By the time I was 12, 13, loved reading. Loved reading. Jesus Christ. I had a great teacher. I had a great teacher that showed me the joy in reading, opened up a whole world. So I know that transformation is easily possible for a whole myriad of people. I don't believe that the next generation is going to be doomed, but I do believe that we are losing something fundamental. When it comes to us as gamers, we no longer have that sixth sense to be able to be like, yeah, I'm gonna put my money down because I feel that this could be a good thing. We are so risk averse now that we don't want to lose any money, really. So you rather lose your time, right? Because free to free to play has to cost you something. There has to be a cost associated because the company put in their money and their time, and they need to be compensated somehow. So if they're asking you for no money, then they're asking for all of your time. Would you really rather trade your time away? Obsessively long grind sessions, systems that punish you for not paying money, obsessive microtransactions that are no longer micro at all when things are costing up to $15 or $20 for like a single skin or costume or emote or whatever. Really, that's the trade you want to make? Just to not have to take a risk at the beginning. Really? That is where we are as a body. And listen, I don't care that it's a multiplayer game or that it's a live service game. I still would rather pay upfront for it and have my time respected and have systems that are there to reward me for having to take. Do you guys realize that was the paradigm we used to run, right? Developers were so excited for you having taken a chance on their product that they wanted to create gaming systems that would ultimately reward you for playing. There used to be a time when we would value the mindset of a person who's educated, multiple hobbies that can inform them of the state of the world, multiple things that they keep track of, so that they can also understand that there's so much more that they don't know. Because in reality, that's what true um, education is. Education shows you and reveals to you that, hey man, it took you X amount of hours to become even moderately good at speaking on this one topic. So also understand that for every single thing, from planting a tree to running the most multi-industrial business you could ever think of, everything, everything all along there is somebody who is an expert at that one particular thing. And you must respect that expertise because it took them X amount of hours in order to become that big an expert. We used to value that. We used to value the beauty, the inherent satisfaction, the inherent artistry of a device or a thing that could only do one thing really, really well. Musical instruments are some of the epitome of that. Books themselves are a book only contains one thing, right? You guys know that, right? Not only does a book only communicates through writing, but it only contains one central idea, one central thing that it is right for one. A book doesn't change its content. An ebook does, which is an advantage of my Kindle, but this copy of this book over here will only ever talk about the content of this book. I can't change it. It doesn't change. We used to value that. It is a single purpose thing. The only thing that this book can ever do is pass on to you knowledge or thoughts or conversation around this one central idea. And it will never change and it will only do that. We used to value that. But now we find ourselves in a world that is unrecognizable. We went wrong somewhere. I have ideas as to where we went wrong. And to briefly touch on that, I think we went for infinite consumption on a finite world. I think that is fundamentally the problem with our society. We demand infinite growth on a finite planet. And the dichotomy of that, the absurdity of that is what is driving all of us crazy. I think it's literally driving every problem that we have as a human species. Infinite consumption, infinite growth, infinite potential on a final on a finite amount of resources and tapestry and locality and space and time. We are asking these three things that cannot possibly meet, and then everything that we have, it's like what they say, a an unstoppable force versus an immovable object. Like, what is it? The clash, the sparks that come out of that like titanic clash. That's everything that we are feeling now. Overconsumption by companies, by customers, by clients. We generate enough food waste that if put properly, just the food waste alone will feed every single person for free on this planet. That's just our food waste, not even the food we consume. But that is again the absurdity of all of that. I think comes from that idea, and there will be a time when people would love to have a debate around that. But nowadays, if you say that, they will say, "Hey, take politics out of gaming." Are we a dying breed? Those of us who like to consider ideas, those of us that enjoy conversation, those of us that go in and actually try to seek truth. truth seekers. I think that's what we are ultimately. You tell me. You tell me.